Hi, I'm Mark, and this is my journey through tarot. Come on with me. So today it's going to be Liz Cheney. I'm no fan of the GOP, and I'm no fan of Liz Cheney, but I am a fan of her conviction which seems to be to stand up for what's true. So Elizabeth Lynn Cheney was born on July 28th, 1966 in Madison, Wisconsin. She's an attorney and a politician and the U.S. representative for Wisconsin since 2017. She's the House Republican Conference Chair and the third highest position in the House Republican leadership. She is the elder of two daughters of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Second Lady Lynn Cheney. So let's see what has happened to her. During her childhood, her father was the White House Chief of Staff. He was a congressman for Wyoming and eventually Secretary of Defense, and then Vice President for George W. Bush. In 1984, Liz graduated from McLean High School. She was a cheerleader and received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Colorado College. Her senior thesis was The Evolution of Presidential War Powers. She also took courses in Middle Eastern history at the Oriental Institute. Now, 1989 to 1993, before attending law school, she worked for the State Department and the U.S. Agency for International Development. In 1993, she married Philip Perry, a partner at a law firm in Washington, D.C., and they now have 5 children. She later took a job at Armitage Associates. Now, in 1996, she received a Juris Doctor degree from the University of Chicago Law School and practiced law as an international law attorney and consultant. And she has served as Special Assistant to the Deputy Secretary of State for Assistance to the former Soviet Union. In 2002, she was appointed Deputy Assistant Secretary for the State for Near Eastern. Let me say that again. She was appointed Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs with an economic portfolio and a mandate to promote investment in Middle East programs for literacy, education, reform. She was given control of the Middle East Partnership Initiative designed to foster increased democracy and economic progress in a troubled region. That program spent $29 million in 2002. In 2003, the budget increased to $129 million, and in 2004, they were seeking a budget of $145 million. But in 2003, Liz left the State Department to serve in her father's 2004 VP reelection campaign. Now, 2005, she returned to the U.S. State Department and was appointed Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, wow, for Near Eastern Affairs and Coordinator for broader Middle East and North Africa initiatives. She supported the Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs and coordinated efforts to promote and support democracy, expand education and economic opportunities in the Middle East and, of course, North Africa. In 2008, she worked for Mitt Romney's presidential campaign as a senior foreign policy advisor. In 2012, Cheney was hired as a contributor for Fox News. She guest hosted programs such as Hannity and Fox News Sunday. Interesting. In a campaign appearance, she once said, "We have to not be afraid of being called obstructionists." This is what she told Republicans. Obstructing President Obama's policy and his agenda isn't actually obstruction, it's patriotism. She claimed that Obama had literally declared war on the First and Second Amendments to the United States Constitution, as well as the interests of Wyoming ranchers and energy workers who face regulations from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Okay, 2014, her relationship with her younger lesbian sister, Mary, suffered after Liz stated that she did not support same-sex marriage. The sister denounced Liz's remarks, writing, "Either you think all families should be treated equally or you don't. Liz's position is to treat my family as second-class citizens." And then Mary's wife wrote, "Liz has been a guest in our home. She has spent time and shared holidays with our children. And when Mary and I got married in 2012, she didn't hesitate to tell us how happy she was for us. To have her now say she doesn't support our right to marry is offensive, to say the least." 2016, Liz announced her candidacy for Wyoming's House seat and was elected with over 60% of the vote. 2017, she was sworn into the office, and Donald Trump became president that same month. Cheney supported Trump's position in 92.9, might as well say 93%, of her House votes. In 2018, Cheney was reelected to the House and also elected chair of the House Republican Conference. She is the third ranking member behind Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and Minority Whip Steve Scalise, and she is the highest ranking Republican woman in Congress, period. Now, 2020, we're almost done. 2020, for the United States House of Representatives election in Wyoming, she won the Republican primary with 73% of the vote. And in 2020, House Republican Conference, some Republicans criticized her for defending Dr. Fauci. Cheney has several times been described as Republican royalty. The second impeachment of Donald Trump, she said the President of the United States summoned this mob, assembled this mob, and lit the flame of this attack. Everything that followed was his doing. None of this would have happened without the President. The President should have immediately and forcefully intervened and stopped the violence. He did not. There has never been a greater betrayal by a President of the United States of his office and his oath to the Constitution. That's what Liz said. And then in 2021, following the storming of the United States Capitol, Liz announced she would vote to impeach Trump for his role in inciting the storming. And at a rally before the storming, Trump told the mob of insurrectionists, get rid of Cheney, and the mob then attacked the Capitol while chanting, hang Mike Pence, and trying to find lawmakers. Just a little bit more here. Trump supporters were angered by Liz's vote to impeach, and the House Republican Conference held a closed-door secret ballot vote to remove her from the Republican House leadership, but she held the vote by 145 to 61. Cheney raised the possibility of a criminal investigation of Trump for provoking violence, and on multiple occasions has said Trump does not have a role as a leader of our party going forward. So this is Liz Cheney, and let's see what the cards tell us about her. Okay, so for this Full Celtic Cross for Liz Cheney, I'm going to use this Mystical Tarot by Lo Scarabeo, and Giuliano Costa is the artist for this deck. These are great cards. They're just typical tarot cards, just exactly what you would expect. The weight of the cards is nice. The depictions in them are nice and easy to read and follow the sort of format that you would expect them to. There's no surprises in here as far as how to read these cards. So there you get to look at them, kind of a little mix-up of the cards, and now we'll give them a couple shuffles and cut them and spread them out and see what we can find out about. Gee whiz, Liz Cheney, what a controversial and political life she has led from the start. I mean, man, oh man. So Liz Cheney, you don't seem to be afraid of anybody. Speaking your own mind, although your views are certainly, deeply entrenched in typical GOP policies and tactics, it seems like to me. So what is the story for Liz Cheney? How is she going to come out of this recent kerfuffle, and what is her journey going to be like for the next bit here? And some say that she is not afraid to go her own way, but at the same time, it looks like her career has been a master class of managing her positions in alignment with those of the Republican Party that would best suit her. Well, I guess it's what all politicians do, isn't it? So Liz Cheney, let's get 6 cards and see if we can figure out what's going on for her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Liz Cheney, wow. It's very controversial, very controversial. I had confused her a couple of times with her gay sister, Mary, but it's Liz who is the boiling point in this family, after her dad, of course. So Liz Cheney, what's the signifier card for you in this reading? The signifier card for Liz is strength. Yes, it is. This woman is even blonde, just like Elizabeth Cheney. So strength is just that. It's a solid way to start off, knowing how to tame the wild beast. This woman has got this animal under control without even touching it. It's like just a little nudge from her knee, and this lion is bored with any thought of doing anything ferocious, I believe. So that's the signifier card for Liz Cheney. Challenge to that, then, is going to be the 9 of Pentacles. And that's a challenge. Well, the Nine of Pentacles is, really having everything that all of your value is lined up and ready to be spent, ready to furnish you with the sort of life that you feel like you deserve. You've got all the trappings of that wealth, not just monetary wealth, but value of your life, of those things that move your life forward. So the challenge to her strength is this. All of this opportunity that is at her disposal, it looks like. That's interesting. Now, the base of the reading is the Wheel of Fortune. And I always like to say that the Wheel of Fortune is taking a spin in the positive direction. This is usually, for me, and being the base of the reading, I would say that the Wheel of Fortune has turned in her favor so many times. She has shown to be a strong advocate of her positions. So the recent past for Liz Cheney, then, is the Hanged Man. And that's kind of where we're at, really, of having to stop, take a look at something from a different perspective. You were looking at this GOP policies from one perspective, and now perhaps your mind has been shook up. Maybe you have some clarity in this new topsy-turvy world of Republican politics. The sky of this reading would be then as a Knight of Cups. Cups are emotion, passion, really, strong feelings for getting this thing done. This knight is carrying a huge cup of this emotion, and on this amazing animal that is just some sort of a seahorse horse hybrid, perfect, I guess, for maneuvering, a drenched situation with lots of emotion. And so I would say that all of these cards represent Liz Cheney. I mean, every one of these, she is just a strong, strong figure. The likely outcome in the short term for Liz Cheney in this regard is going to be the Queen of Swords. So this would say someone who is going to rule the day. She's got law, she's got justice, she's got right in her hand. So that's where we are right now with Liz Cheney. Now, for the last part, for the self, to really drill down on Liz Cheney, and I don't know how we could drill down even more, but we'll see what comes up here. For the self of Liz Cheney, in this regard, we're going to roll this back just a little bit and take this card that's trying to come out right here for the self. Okay, this is very good. This is the Four Swords, and the Four Swords tell us that this is the time to stop and really consider your next move very carefully. You've got some justice, you've got some truth, you've got some rules right here at hand, and the rest of them are locked up in this cabinet. Not so much a threat that I can see as tools to be used when you find them advantageous. So that's the self right now of Liz Cheney. I'm going to say that the environment that she's in then is it's perfect. I mean, it's the Five of Wands, and the Five of Wands is a lot of plans, a lot of issues, a lot of movement coming together, but without a clear path. It's some confusion, and that's the environment that she's in right now, and I think that is perfect for the environment that she's in the Republican Party right now. Let's go back this way on these cards and try to pick up something in here for the hopes and the fears. The hopes and the fears then is the Seven of Cups, and the Seven of Cups is the so-called illusion and delusion, just because you have so many choices of how this can work out, either of the tools that you can pull out of your hat. Look at this hat, by the way. This is like some kind of huge shark whale thing that this guy's got on him, and wow, what an amazing costume. But anyway, so the hopes and the fears is involved in using all of those issues that you can to help move your part forward. And then the final outcome is going to be, what is this? What is this? These are the Lovers. So the final outcome then is going to be the Lovers, and the Lovers is a partnership. This is definitely a positive outcome. It's finding the one who, or the side, or the union that will bring a happy conclusion to your issue. So I'd say this looks pretty good for Liz Cheney. So what happened here is that Liz Cheney started off strong with strength. Okay, she had everything she needed to get this thing going, but seemed to be challenged somewhat by her privilege, the privilege that she brings to her life seems to be a holding place for her. But all of that is boosted by the Wheel of Fortune, which I believe is turning ever always in her direction. She's been in the recent past with the Hanged Man, getting a new perspective on her party, and but all of that is fine because she ends up with the Lover's card, finding the partnerships that she needs to move her cause forward. So that's what I've got for Liz Cheney. Well, thank you so much for coming in to see the reading today. I appreciate it so much. And if you're not doing anything tomorrow, stop by. I mean, I'm here and I'll be going somewhere, and you can come too. So let's